Hello everybody, and welcome to my UDK tutorial series. In this, I will be showing you, let's see, just some basic building techniques to be able to create this big huge into separate regions to create multiple floors and things, because typically if you're creating a UDK level, you're going to create a huge building like this. You're going to create your big space first, like the maximum amount of space you need, and then you're going to fill it in. So you'll have like a whole floor where this part may be just the wall or something, and then you could have this repeat on every roof if you wanted to, and this repeat on every floor, but you could have the floors differently, and you can create staircase side and all this kind of stuff. So I'll be showing you how to do that here, which isn't that hard, but just kind of give you an idea of how you can turn something like this large space into a simple, like big easy building, an actual building. Okay, so that's not what I wanted. Let's see, I'm going to need ladder, so let's go ahead and limit this to static meshes. And let's just have actually a quick look here and see what we've got. There's a ladder, but that's not kind of what I want. I want something like this. This I like. I want to see what else there is. Let me go ahead and type in stair. It'll limit it down. I think this is all we've got. It's a fire escape stairs, but I don't really want that. Let's go with this. So I'm going to drag this into the level, and all I need is one. And the reason for that is I'll show you, and I'll show you why here in a second. Let me go ahead and drag this over to just, I'm just going to I would normally worry about symmetry right now, but since I'm just kind of going to do this kind of quickly, and normally I would measure and see, but I'm not going to worry about all that. I'm just going to kind of drag it here somewhere. Okay, now what we're going to do is, while this is still selected, I'm going to hold Control, actually Control Alt, and then drag. No, it's wrong thing. Alt. You hold Alt. That's like copying. It's a shortcut key for copy, and then you can just drag this up where it's aligned, drag it that way, drag it up, and there we go. It fits perfect because it's the same thing, just repeated over again. And basically this static mesh could just be the first step and then just repeated with the second step, but as you see, the lines are a little bit different each step, which helps it look good. But so that's why these would fit real perfect. Which is kind of why you typically want to find stairs like these, or make your own like these, because you can easily repeat them over and over again, and they'll fit just perfect like that. Now I will show you up here that it actually isn't visible due to the way the static mesh is made. Like, it is visual in some portions, but it's not designed to be viewed at from this side. So you want to make sure that the person who is seeing the stair, this part isn't visible. Now some other stairs, and I'll show you this right now. I'll open the content browser back up. Other stairs will be a little different, like this one. Actually, I have to drag it like this. This one, I'll drag it up. The side is viewable, so the side is visible here, and this one, there is really no side. It's just kind of up like that. But in this one, there's a side to it, but then the bottom still isn't visible. So different ones are different depending on actually how it's made. Now again, I'll go ahead and show you this. Whenever you go and look at it from this way, it isn't visible that way. So you want to make sure that you make that you make your static meshes so that they don't have glitches like that. And technically, it wouldn't really be a glitch because that's just how it was designed. It wasn't designed to be viewed at from the bottom, because typically you're not going to go and look at stairs from the bottom. But in most buildings, the way the buildings are made, you can see the bottom of the stairs. So you just kind of want to make sure that you design your your meshes, and if you do make meshes, or if you place meshes in here, that you design them accordingly. So now wait, it's not okay. I was holding the wrong button down. Now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna click Control, and we're gonna click Control there. I'm gonna click Alt again. Well, hold down Alt again, and drag this. So now we've got the same thing, but we copied two of them. So this way, we can create a longer stair chain. And we'll just line that up. We'll select all of these and move it back some. Let's see. Because it's against the wall right there. Now we could, right now, we could move, first of all, I'm actually going to move this over so we have two sets of stair. I gotta get in closer. No. There. So there we have like two sets of the same stair, so it looks better. And then we'll select this again, and we could do this multiple ways. We could flip the side, and so it goes up, and then it just we just have a wrapping, and then it'll stop. There's a platform here, and then there's another one. Or that we could just do it like this way, and it goes up, and then it goes up again. It's just and it's all covered up by a wall. Or we could actually put them right here and make a hole on the outside of this, and then it would come in around and do it again. So that's one way of making a building, which I'll actually go ahead and illustrate. Let me just let's see. I'm gonna make this twice as long, so I'm gonna whoops. I'm just gonna copy and add, like, let's see, two more to the top. So first of all, I want to back all of these up a little bit. And if I can, I'll try to illustrate all the different ways you could go about making some staircases to go up to multiple floors. Just to give you some ideas of how you can use the same thing in multiple different ways. And again, I'm going to have to create some sort of support looking thing for this, because it just doesn't look natural the way it is, the way it was made. I mean, it looks fine from this angle, but if I come to the side, it's just like kind of floating there. So I'm going to have to create some supports. Once I get this lined up. Okay. Let's go ahead and test this. So there's our door, and if you remember from last time, this opens and closes. Which we still don't, it's still not working correctly with the back of it. But oh, look there, that's completely black. Now we've got this as high as we kind of want it, sort of, and I may adjust it later, but the lighting, as you saw, it has to be rebuilt to account for this. So we're going to have to completely redo the lighting. So we can just do the lighting. Now, I'll go ahead and say, the build geometry, even though we placed objects in the level, and I've said this before, but you don't have to click, build all if you just want to do the lighting for some staircase like this. The geometry is only the BSP, which is the walls, the floor, and the ceiling here. So now if I click this, you'll get a bunch of options, and you can select what you want, and build quality preview. Whenever you actually finish your entire game and you want to like put it out to market, you're gonna make sure you're gonna need to make sure that you do this on production lighting, and it takes a whole lot longer, but the lighting is much more detailed and refined. So it just, for right now, it just kind of gives you a preview of what it will be like in production, and it is much better in production, which I might show you a difference here. Of course, the only thing is there might not be enough lighting to actually see a difference, because there's not much of a difference, but it's a minute difference, but it does kind of improve the overall quality a little bit. So if you see a really, like, if you have a really big level and you see kind of like a big difference over your level with the lighting after you do production, that's why. So just do keep in mind there will be a small difference whenever you do production. And this will have to run the light mask again. And as you can see, it is taking longer and longer to process as we add more and more things. And these stairs especially, it'll take a good while because of all the various ups and downs and the cracks in the stairs, and plus it has to process it from it hitting the side, and from it hitting the side, and from it hitting the bottom, and then take the color into account and spread that over everything. And also my mouse is a lightsaber, so I got new mouse cursor thingy. And this is going to take a while, so I might pause the video if it doesn't end here in a second. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right now. Okay, so this is done, and again, it does actually warn you, since I was talking about production lighting earlier, that this is not built with production lighting. So now you can see these stairs, they've taken on almost a completely different color, and that's because the color of the wall is bounced with the lighting onto this, so it kind of naturalizes the thing. So you can build, sometimes in a way you can actually build with an object that kind of doesn't fit, but the lighting will make it fit, and it does work pretty well. And again, that's like that. So you have to oh, I'm sorry. You do have to be careful with that there, but now it works. So we can hop in here. And here is our lighting. And with this you can kind of sort of see the bottom better, but it still is weird looking. So, but you can walk up these. So you can just walk up here, perfect. But that we did not get lined up against the wall correctly, so we'll have to do that. But we can create either, we could either like move these back a little bit and create a platform, but which in a way would be kind of interesting. Whoops. Okay. So I might actually do that instead of what I was going to do, because the other thing might be a little more work. So we'll just take these, I'll move them back a little bit to create enough room. And as you see, it kind of changed. It's changed its color again because it'll have to recalculate the lighting. So that's one of the frustrating things. You typically want to do a lot of this work. You won't want to do like what I did and create just a single thing and then build the lighting, because it'll take a while. So you typically want to go ahead and finish all your work, your lighting work first. I'm sorry, not your lighting work. Like all your work of a certain section. Like for instance, building the staircase entirely before you do the lighting and take a look at it, and then you can make minute and move on to something else. Otherwise, it'll take a long time to be able to get anything done because you're having to wait for the lighting to build all the time. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of play this by ear. This will have to actually fit so that this... Oh, you know what? Okay, you see how I'm having to go back and select everything all the time? Now, I mentioned this briefly last, but I didn't really have a use for it whenever I mentioned it. There was a, not last time, but some other tutorial. You can right-click, actually, you'll have to go ahead and select all of one section. Now you click, and you click, and you click, and sometimes you'll make separate static meshes, like, you know, a staircase like this, and it'll be one small mesh. But you can right-click and you can go to group actors and you click that, and now I click up here and I click this, and this entire thing is considered one static mesh. And so if I edit the properties, I'll just click F4. If I edit the properties here, display, attachment, collision, any of that kind of stuff, it edits the thing as a whole. Now, I can always undo this. Technically, it is still like not, it is separate static meshes, but whenever you click one, it links them all together. So you can just, easily ungroup these. And then, and it'll leave them all selected, so you don't have to go back. If you like mistakenly clicked on group, you can easily go back and click, group actors again. And then, of course, you've got actual options for these. You can, merge them together. So, or if you wanted to do that or whatever. So, if these had different textures, you could merge them together to create an overall texture of one kind or something. For instance, if this was an abandoned building and you had moss on, if you had a static mesh with moss on it and a static mesh that was cracked and a static mesh that wasn't, you could build them all together and then merge it, and it would like mesh together right or something like that. I haven't actually messed much because I don't do much of the actual building where I would need much of that. That's actually a relatively new feature within the last couple months, last couple updates. So I want to get this to where it's just the edge, and in fact I want them to kind of touch. And actually I need to group this too. And see, there will be enough room up there where we can actually create the second floor, so that'll work. But I'll need to group these. Group. And there is a shortcut for that, but I'm just not using it because I keep forgetting it. So I'll need to move this up just a hair. And let's see. Move it over just a little. Wait, oh, that's that way. Whoops. This way. And then move it down. Maybe that's too much. Yeah, I need to move it back over. I want it to be flush against the wall. So I'm going to do that first. Let's get it flush against the wall. Okay, that's okay. There is a little gap, and I would normally fix that, but don't worry too much about it right now. So you kind of just want to like get this, and you can get them together so that they you want to make sure that they look around as well. So that's why I want to make sure there. And see, now this is that's actually in the floor, which looks kind of better like that. So that end up there, and I could have this up and then lowered this one and then raised this, and then it would have been okay. But I want to leave enough room so I can have at least another floor. So okay, now all I have to do is I can use Alt, and if I use Alt right now, it will group them all together again. So it won't just have all of them but they're not grouped. It will group them, and you can see it gives you a signal that these are grouped by these green things here, so that you know that you pulled out a grouped copy. So that's very useful. And I want to turn this 180 degrees and then move it this way. And so if you can see kind of what's going on here, we've got a thing that's used in many building designs. And plus it does look cool. Okay. Now, actually okay because this one was already lined up in height, so I just had to move this one over, and I kinda almost nailed it. Move it back just a little. There we go. The only thing is, this has tons of room for a platform over here. This doesn't have a platform, so we're gonna have to move it a little, and it won't be perfect, but yeah, that's about it. Okay, so I'm gonna actually leave all these grouped, and I'm gonna just go. Okay, now I'm going to go into the content browser. I'm going to find platform. So I could do multiple things here. I could type in multiple things. I'm going to type in platform and see what I get. That's not anything good. We could type floor, and what do we get? We got some stair stuff, we got a sidewalk thingy, we've got this, but that's kind of broken. That seems to be the only thing. So I'll do this, go right up here, and just drag this in. So that'll load up in there. We'll pull this up, and we'll drag this over, and we can just enlarge the fit. And it doesn't look very thin, like very thick. Said the wrong word. But we can fix that, because it doesn't look very thick. We're looking at it from the side, but once you're standing on it, it'll look fine. We can actually scale it right here, and then we can see. The good thing about these static meshes is sometimes you can just stick them outside of the wall if it's scaled or something, or stick them below, more like it can stick out or something, because walls here, so they're not going to sit under here, so it could look like really bad under here, but since they're not going to see it, it's okay. Okay, so there's that. We'll just kind of move that over just a little, and we'll alt create a copy and move this up, and we'll put it at either side of this. And what we'll do is we'll actually use this as the floor. So in fact, I could, well, let me position this first. I want to make sure that this is lower than the actual stairway, just a little, like that. Well, that's actually not lower, but that's, you got to make it so that they can walk up, because things that are designed as either something like that, that's even better. Like the stairs, they have very small things where you can walk up, and because depending on what the setting is in the actual controls, they won't be able to walk up certain heights, so you have to make sure that you design these floors, the distance between the stair and the actual floor, accordingly, whether or not you want the last thing to be a step itself or not. I just got to get this flush with the wall. It's actually good. That's a little more than I needed, but that's okay. I should have actually let me scale this down, and I'll scale it this way, try to get it here. I'll just set this all back to 1, because I want this to be okay, because I'm actually going to increase this, because this isn't going to work. It'll be too much work, so I'm going to increase this back all to 1, these numbers down here, and it'll get it like it was. Okay, now I just increase the size exponentially. Nope. Dang it. That's why you gotta make sure that you have the right scaling thing on there. Okay. So I can just increase this size, which the height is also increased, so I gotta make sure I don't make it too thick. I'll just move it over here in the center of the floor, and this will actually be the second floor right here. Now this doesn't look all that great, especially just like create this in smaller sections if I wanted to, because this tile is okay, but once it gets bigger, the distances between these smaller sections increase, and so it's a higher height. So I may actually make this a little smaller, about say that, and then just use Alt, and I can just fill up the gap with these. And I can spin some of them around, or if I want to. Of course, if I don't, then it kind of ends up matching because of the way it's made. So sometimes you may want to match it up just to give it a bit of randomness with the bumps and stuff that are in here, if you use something similar. Of course, I can make a bunch of these. And in reality, it doesn't really take that too long to fill up. But I can... Whoops. Now, if you hold Alt and click something, it won't actually make a copy of it until you actually move it. So that's something to keep in mind in case you like keep clicking Alt like I did instead of Control. It doesn't actually make a copy until you move it. So, okay, I'm just going to slide this whole thing up against the wall. I think that'll be good enough. And then I'll slide it up against this corner here. One more. Oops, too far. There, just a little bit. But that's okay. Now, I'll go ahead and drag this out. And as you can see, this is really different looking than, as well as than the actual room. But that'll be changed as you saw. Whoops. Okay. So far, we've almost got a second floor here, and this space is looking a lot better. If you look down from up down here, it's looking a lot better. And all those lighting glitches, those will be fixed. And if it doesn't look good, we can always cover it up. We can just copy the BSP and put it up there. I'm just showing you one way of doing multiple. That's kind of what I'm doing here. Now, what I'm going to have to do is take this and this, and then do Alt and drag. This will have to be outside. But since no one's going to see the outside, at least for right now, we can drag those outside and it'll look fine. Now, the only reason I didn't scale them down is because it would be completely out of proportion and it would look odd compared to the rest of them, because the squares would be smaller. So you do need to take that in consideration. Now, one thing I just noticed, the texture we have on our walls, it would be a great area for second floor if we move this up and got that lined up with the very bottom there. So that would look better. And let's just grab these, and we'll Alt and go one this way. Now I don't want to go any more than one, because you don't want to hamper the person getting up the stairs. So you can't like overlap there at the top, unless you wanted to, but you wouldn't really want to, because it would be kind of bad. Now the only thing where we put this, we'll have to actually, might be able to bring it down a little bit. We'll have to work with our texture here. We'll just, because the stairs are not gonna, we're not gonna be able to get up unless we move our stairs some, or we move this down. Now if we move this down, we can move this down a little, but if we move it too much, then the texture is going to be able to be seen we wanted this to be able to be right there as the next thing, um, for the bottom floor, and it would look kind of cool like that, I think, personally. Now the only thing is with this. Now we could create another stair that might work. We'd have to ungroup this. We could just easily do that. Ungroup. We just grab two of these. We go Alt, move them, bring them up, and then that fits perfectly right there. The only thing is this is actually overlapping the stair a little bit, so we'll have to move this whole thing backwards. That's what I was meaning about it. See, right there. Now, if they were trying to walk up, then they would actually hit the floor and they wouldn't be able to make it up. So you have to make sure that you watch out for these things whenever you're making a game. Because people are going to try all kinds of things, all different ways of getting up there. Every person's different, so you can't just design it like, well, I just wouldn't walk on the very, very edge, because if you're making a multiplayer game, then you may get multiple people bumping around, so you have to make sure that you design it for that as well. Now, you also don't want to leave a gap, so oops, yeah, that's good. No, one. I keep hitting 2 clicks. There. No, that's not good. Okay. That'll have to do. You've got a much smaller path here, but you can just take like one of these and you just Alt and drag. The only thing is it'll be sticking out. Now I'm doing all this, and this probably isn't the best way to do this, but I am doing it this way just to show you one of the many different options you can use when creating a level, because you don't have to stick to just one thing. Now typically you could have done this by using the BSP from the bottom and just drag it up, and it would have been very simple. You would have had to cut out room for the stairs though, and that would have taken up a bit of time. This is a little bit more accurate. The only thing, you've got the texture right, the actual tile is a little bit off right there. Unless you were to take it, and scale it down, and then it would fit. But then the only thing is it wouldn't match these. So you're always going to have some problems that you'll have to work with. But seeing as I'm not going to be publishing this in an actual game, I think it's going to be just fine. So I'll just drag this one. And do know that this is sticking out a good bit. So I'm going all on the whim that I'm not going to be making anything out there for people to see. Now I've also got to make... I'll leave that group, then I'll just copy these two. And spin them around. $180, which that was too far there. And I'll just move this right here, line it up where it's supposed to be at. There we go. And I'll need to move this one back. So there's actually a lot of it sticking out right now, but I'm only doing that so that the tiles, the size, will kind of line up, which in retrospect it kind of doesn't, because so much is sticking out of the wall, but it's okay. Like I said earlier, this isn't gonna be perfect. Now I'll go ahead and actually group this entire floor as a group. I'll group it together. Now I could actually group this with the stairs too, so if I wanted to make a replicate of this floor, I could easily do that just by dragging the whole thing. Now I think I just screwed up. No. Did I? I think I accidentally moved it for like this way some. Yeah, I did. Crap. I'll just Control Z to undo that move. There we go. Yeah, sometimes you have to be careful, which is another reason why the selection tool is useful, because you can just select stuff and group stuff together without accidentally bumping it. So I'll just Control G, which is the same thing as actually right-clicking and clicking Set Group. Oh, forgot that one. So I'll just Control G. There we go. So there's the floor. That's done. Now the stairs, I'm actually going to leave as separate entities, each one. I could group them all together easily, but I'm not going to do that right now. Control G. Okay. Now let's run the lighting, and I'll pause this, because this is going to take a while. Because now what we've got is I'm hoping this is going to happen so you can see exactly how this lighting kind of works better. And probably in the next tutorial I'll show you like a bit more lighting techniques. But this is just kind of going to be the forerunner to that. The lighting that we have currently in the level is a single just point light. So it's going to just emanate in a globe continuously. But if it's not like it's not like the lighting is going to go through things, because if it did, it wouldn't cast shadows. But the lighting that we set up was in the center of this this building here. So what might happen is the entire bottom would probably go dark, and the only light would be coming from the gap in the stairway. And so we'll have to set up separate lighting at the ground and then at the top, and you'll have to do that with like every floor. But I'll show you in the next tutorial how to set up actual what would be, you know, lighting coming from a definite point instead of just everywhere. So, you know, you'd have like lighting from like a light bulb or like a flashing light, or like a headlight or something in like a car, or, you know, a spotlight or something like that. I'll show you how to set up that kind of thing. And let's see. Yeah. Yep, there we go. So this got dark, you see. And the top of this doesn't look as bad now, but as you can see, it's kind of flickering in some places, which is another reason why I did kind of want to use the other thing. But let's see, it's okay. And see, the reason this is doing this is in some places it's higher than others, and so the lighting gets kind of confused and everything. But see, here's our light. It's casting all around to here, and when it gets to the stairs and things, it can't pass through this except in a couple places, but which is why you've got the lighting and different there. And then for some reason it drops really dramatically. But we're gonna set up the lighting to be like, have some lights on this door and set some lights around this room. And I'll just show you what I mean by lights. There's an actual, they've got light static meshes like these right here. You can set these to be lights, and so that's what we're going to be doing in the next tutorial. But I'll see you then, and as I always do, I'll end it with looking around here. And you do got some flickering going on, and that's mostly because of the fact that I use static meshes for the entire ceiling. And you could do that, but the static mesh I used wasn't probably the best one. And I did know that, but I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of time looking for one. So you see how these tiles, you don't really want to get them too much bigger, because then it looks weird. And these wouldn't really be used as a floor in like an office building or something. But this isn't really an office building, so I don't know what kind of building this would be. Those would be more of like an outside use. So, okay, and where's our door? Our door should be right over here. It's completely covered in shadow. So, and Yeah, there's our sound going back. Okay. Alright, so I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.